slightly mad. I'm going slightly mad.
Hello everybody. Hello Aloysius. How are you today? You're good? Do we have news? We have news! I haven't been here for some time. Yes, so I haven't had any news about my new book that I'm working on, and I haven't had anything to really talk to you about. So I haven't been here. No, we haven't been here. No, because there's no point coming on and saying, oh, we have no news about the book. So what's our news? Well, we have made progress. But first, before we get started, remember, we don't have Patreon or sponsorship or ads. If you want to support us, there is our shop where we have books and writing services. There's also our Redbubble shop where we have over 100 designs. And I know I keep saying I'll put more up at some point, but time, people, time. And if you want to support us without spending any money, like, subscribe, comment, and share, because those help us no end. We love hearing your comments, and they don't cost you any money. So it's win-win. So what's your big news? What's my big news? I finished my first chapter. You're giving me that look. You've been working on that for 6 months. Yes, I've been working on that for 6 months. If you take that long to do every chapter, it'll take 4 years to finish the book. No, it's not going to take 4 years to finish the book. Well, why not? Well, okay. This is kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. So, I finished the first chapter. I've had a lot of things going on. Very, very busy, and just have not had a lot of writing time. Yes. I do write slowly. Yes. And the first chapter involved a lot of research that we didn't think we were going to have to do. Yes. So what did that mean? What did that look like in practice, having research that you had no idea you had to do? What it looks like is sitting down at the computer and writing for 3 hours at a stretch, but only getting about 300 words done. Yeah, I know, about 300 words done, because every single thing, just about every single sentence needed a piece of research done. Because I didn't expect to write this chapter. What? Well, when I planned out the book, I thought, oh, I've got this idea, it'll work really well. And then the more I thought about it, the more I sort of realized, oh, I need a framing chapter. You didn't think that at first? No, I didn't think that at first, because at first I thought, oh, it'll look like a regular novel. Remember, we spent a lot of time thinking about exactly what the structure of this thing would be. We tried various different things, and it didn't like a lot of things, and then finally worked out exactly what we wanted to use, which is partly what makes it satirical and partly what gives it its joke. Yes. Well, when you're writing something where you want people to believe something that isn't real, yes, you can't just make everything up. You can't. In fact, the more truthful you are with real things, the more liberties you can take with the fake things. That? Okay. So, I can't imagine that I am the only reader who gets really, really annoyed when you're reading a historical fiction or something, or just anything, any kind of thing, and there is just a glaring thing that's wrong, which you know is wrong, and you're not even an expert in that field, and you're like, no, that bugs me, and now I have to I can't trust this writer to know anything because they didn't know that, and that's really, really basic. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like the author didn't do their research, and because they didn't do their research, I, as a reader, am no longer immersed. Okay, I get that. Yeah, so the research part is really important, because if you're using exaggeration, like I am, yes, if you're using... if you're writing something satirical, if you're making a very large joke, yes, you can't go making up the little things, because it's the little things that will enable the joke to land. Jokes are incredibly constructed. They are incredibly well constructed. Yes. Okay, so imagine in the life of Brian. You know that? Yeah, we know that. We know the life of Brian. Yeah. Now, imagine in the life of Brian, in the scene where Brian is painting Romans Go Home on the fort or the palace. Yeah. And then John Cleese's centurion comes up, yeah. And then he gives him a Latin lesson. Yeah. Now, I don't know Latin, but I do know that the writers of The Life of Brian do. Yeah. And because the writers of The Life of Brian know Latin, they know for that joke to work, yes, the Latin has to be correct. Oh. You can't just make it up. It doesn't matter if Latin is not a commonly spoken thing anymore, that people don't, even educated people, that this is not part of a typical middle class education. It still needs to be correct. Oh. Yeah, because the joke is not just the Romans go home and the centurion correcting his Latin. It's also a joke about Latin teachers. It's a joke about education. It's a joke about this scary Latin teacher forcing him to do this, and then him writing it 100 times all over the wall. Yeah, and that doesn't work if you don't get that right. Oh, yeah. Because instantly an audience is going to go, that doesn't sound right. That does not sound like what I think they want it to sound like if you get it wrong. And so when you get it wrong, the audience then doesn't believe you. But the more weird things you want to put in, yes, the more correct you have to be with the things you actually can be correct with. Oh, yeah. So it means taking a lot of time to find out a lot of unbelievably obscure, ridiculously obscure things. Like what? Like, for instance, medals were not given prior to the Battle of Waterloo, which is the first military medal given in the English army. Really? Yeah. The way that you honoured officers or men in previous to that was mentioned in dispatches, a promotion, or a knighthood. No medals. No medals. The first medal was the Duke of Wellington struck the Waterloo medal, which he gave to every member of the army who fought at Waterloo. Yeah. Okay. That is one of the things that I've learned. That's one of the many things, yes, that I have learnt. that I had no need for prior to this, and I had no idea, and it took me a good hour of searching to find out actually how that worked. Just to make a reference. Yeah, just to make a reference to something. So that is why it's taken me 6 months to get the first chapter written. Oh, why won't the rest? Because the rest is working on a lot of prior knowledge. So I already have the prior knowledge. A lot of what I was working on this time was knowledge, stuff that I just had not anticipated needing. So I have the prior knowledge, which is why I thought, oh, this will be really, really good to write. But what I didn't have was this knowledge that I needed for the initial chapter. So that's why we've been ages, but it's why it's so important, because I also see a lot of writers talking about, oh, I wrote so and so number of words today, and that was a good writing day, or I only wrote this many and that was a bad writing day. Yeah, and I look at that and I just think, were they quality? Were they quality words? It's not a race. Like, it's really not a race. Because who are you chasing? Don't know. Someone else with the same idea? No one else has the same idea. No one else has the same idea? No. And only you have the same execution. Oh. Yeah. So who are you chasing? You don't have a deadline, generally speaking, unless it's a commissioned piece. And the book will take the time that the book will take. Maybe they're planning on fixing it up in drafts. Well, that probably is what they're planning on doing. But personally, I don't like writing multiple drafts. I prefer to get everything down as close as humanly possible to what I actually want in the final thing. I find the idea of drafting and redrafting so laborious that I would rather take the time, do the research, allow things to suggest themselves through the research, and allow the story to develop in a slower pace than to have to redraft the blasted thing. Really? Yeah, I know. It's not how everyone works. And I'm not saying that my method is superior to someone else's method. It is superior to another method for me. Now, another thing that I was thinking, yes, because this is another thing that I did. Because I'm starting on the next chapter, and to start on the next chapter, I needed to actually start focusing on a particular character. Oh, okay. Yeah, so one thing I did, and I think we've talked about this, have we? Yeah, we've talked about this, but I found a much better, I think I found a much better website to put it in than what I'd used previously. Oh, okay. Is creating a horoscope for a character. Really? Yeah. Give them a birth date and give them a birth time and a birthplace, and you can get a really, really detailed personality. Yeah. And what's more, because these things are so variable, because there's so many variants, if you get a full birth chart, so not just sun sign, not just moon sign, not just rising sign, but Venus, all the outer planets, all the aspects, the whole thing. You've got to find a website that'll do a full breakdown. Yeah. So it's like several pages long. You don't have to pay for it. Just get one that'll do a free one. You can get a whole load of information about a character that all actually works together to create a homogeneous person. So you don't end up with you can end up with weirdly contradictory things, because that's how people are, but they'll be weirdly contradictory in ways that kind of make a bit of logical sense, because it's like, oh, you have this ambition over here, but you also have because you've got something highly ambitious in Mars, but you've also got something in Saturn that wants stability, and these two things are going to create tension against one another. Yeah, and then you've got internal conflict within the character that you can then use. Oh, so I created one of these for my main character. I'm not doing it for every character. You can't do it for every character. But I got this and I read it, and I've been thinking about it for about a week. And yeah, and things that I had not anticipated suggested themselves through the use of the horoscope. Do tell. Well, I hadn't anticipated giving my main character a love interest. No, I hadn't. Not a direct one, because I was playing with various things. But looking at the horoscope, and then also looking at my model for my main character, because I've been reading Judy Cook's memoir of her time, her marriage with Peter Cook. I've been looking at Peter Cook's biography. I've been reading various sketches and things of Peter Cook. Yeah. And so these also help me to help suggest things. There are a lot of things that it's like, no, mine isn't like that. Mine is not actually technically an alcoholic. No. He drinks too much. Yes. Yeah, he drinks too much. But he's not actually alcoholic. But because I'm not a drinker, it really helps to see exactly what in the opinions of these books that I've been looking at, what actually sort of triggered that, what sorts of things with that kind of personality that I am using as a broad template, but I'm narrowing it down and refining this, what sorts of things would trigger that personality badly, and then look at the horoscope and then think, well, what would also trigger this person badly enough to start abusing alcohol? Really? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's not as simple as that you put something in and it spits it out and there's a perfect character. You have to refine. And your refining is where you take the time. It's not about words on a page. It is about refining it down so that the words are right, so that the character works properly. If they don't work properly, then it's kind of, the book doesn't work properly. So I find it's worth me taking the time. So if I'm writing slower than I anticipated, I think I'm a bit rusty. Really? Yeah, I have not written fiction in years. The last two things that I wrote were textbooks. So I haven't actually written fiction in years. So I think I've been a bit rusty, and it's taken me a bit of time to sort of limber that up, get that working. So, that always takes a while. Yeah, you can get rusty. Yeah, you really can get rusty with it. It's not that you get, you forget it. It's just that when you haven't been doing that for some time, it just takes a bit to click back in, Yeah, like weightlifting. Yeah, like weightlifting. First week back, pissy numbers. Back now, 8 weeks in. Oh yeah, we're back where we think we should be, where we thought we should have been. Well, nearly back where we thought we should have been when we started. Yeah, exactly. And same with writing. It's not that you forget it. It's not that you lose it. It's just that, sometimes life gets in the way and things get messy. There was something else you wanted to talk about. Oh yes, there was something else I wanted to talk about. And this suggested itself to me when I saw a clip on Instagram, and it was talking about the importance of an informed audience. What's that? Okay, so it's important when you're writing not to cast too broad a brush. And I see this a lot. People cast a really broad brush, and especially when they submit to us and they say, who's your target audience of this? And it's like, I don't know, everybody. Really? Everybody? Then it must be Drek. You need to be able to pinpoint your audience. Why? Okay, because an informed audience allows you to really push it. Because you know, I'm writing for an audience that will understand this. Really? Yeah. You know, I mean, if you are writing crime fiction, you need to know that your audience is going to be a crime fiction audience. They're going to know about crime fiction. So if you haven't put in your research into crime fiction, forget it. It's not going to cut the mustard. It is going to just be, well, it probably won't even be picked up. But even if it is, it's not going to satisfy that audience. But isn't wider better? No, wider is not better. No, it's not. It's not. Look at the dreck that's coming out in mainstream movies. Oh. Yeah, honestly, what was the last thing you were really interested in going and seeing? Yeah, see? What was the last thing? Like, I mean, we went and saw Nosferatu. Yeah, that was a mistake. That was a mistake, but we weren't to know that. No, we weren't to know that. It got really big reviews. Yes, but you know what? We were an informed audience. We'd gone and watched the 2 preceding ones, didn't we? Yes. Yes, we did. And did we enjoy this one? No, we didn't. We didn't. You can watch our video bagging it. Caesar does. Caesar bags it. Oh, wow, does Caesar bag it? So we went in as an informed audience and then were disappointed. Yes. What was the last thing we went to see where we were not disappointed by it? We enjoyed Poor Things until we read the book. Yeah, we enjoyed Poor Things until we read the book, and then we were really disappointed and didn't revisit Poor Things. So what was the last thing we saw? Scorsese, Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah, that was the last thing that we actually went to the cinema and saw and thought, wow, this is really, really good. I mean, I had to go see a Scorsese on the big screen. I had never done that before, and I had to do that. Yeah, exactly. But I'm a Scorsese fan. So I'm an informed viewer. Oh. There were people who were complaining afterwards that, oh, it's about crime and it's focused on the men. And it's like, yeah, it's a Scorsese. Or Scorsese. That's what they do. That's what he does. You're not going to get a female-focused film from Martin Scorsese. No. You might. I have yet to watch Age of Innocence. Yeah. So I think there are a couple. But, you know, this is more Goodfellas, Taxi Driver type of film in some ways. Yeah. I mean, it's just not what you can't ask it to be something that it's not. I mean, he's too old to change now. And we wouldn't want him to. We would not want him to. Marty, keep making the films you want to make. That one was good. That was a bladder buster, but it was so good. Still half as long as Cleopatra. Yeah, still half as long as Cleopatra. But that's a quirk of physics. Yeah. Anyway, I think one of the most pernicious things that people continue to believe long after it's useful is that you write only for yourself. You write for your... Yeah. Really? Yeah. When you write for yourself, you do that when you're starting out. When you start out, you write for yourself. Yeah? Yeah. As you become a professional writer, though, you are not writing so much for yourself. No. You're not writing so much for yourself. You are writing partly for yourself because you would want to be able to enjoy the book that you're working on, but you're also keeping in mind who is going to want to read this. Because people who don't have any concept of who is going to want to read this and what about this book is going to appeal to that particular audience, what you end up with is a book that you can't market, because readers are a minority of people. Sad but true. Yeah, sad but true. Readers are a minority of people, and reading genres are fragmentary. So you are running for a teeny tiny section of a fragment of a small audience already. You need to know what they want. Oh, yeah. It's not like we'll appeal to the broadest possible audience, because the broadest possible audience doesn't read. I'm sorry, but they don't. It's like, but I want my book to go viral on TikTok. Well, then you want a non-discerning audience. Yes. Well, then, okay. But I think I'd get bored doing that. Yeah, I think you would get bored, Aloysius. I think you would get super, super, super bored writing for a discriminating audience. You want to know who you're writing for. Yes, you are writing for yourself, but you are also writing for an audience, and you want to reward them with something that they haven't seen, something that is unique and something that values what they can bring to the book. Remember, death of the author. It is not the author who creates meaning alone. It is the author plus the reader plus the reader's experience that creates the meaning in the text. Okay? It's death of the author doesn't mean you just ignore the author. That's the other thing. We've done a whole video on that. Janice did a whole video on that. But it is about the fact that meaning is created not just by the author, but by the reader and the reader's experience. So you need an informed reader to make the text intelligible. Is this what Her Ladyship is finding rereading Tom Jones? Yeah. Her Ladyship is rereading Tom Jones, and she hasn't read that in about 25 years. Ooh, yeah. So she is gonna bring that at some time fairly soon, because she's getting through it. But Tom Jones, 25 years ago, without any kind of context of 18th century literature, read very differently to Tom Jones now, with her quite substantial, not insignificant, knowledge of 18th century literature and how Henry Fielding fits into things. So really look forward to that video from her, because she's not going to take the old one down, but it's going to be a completely different appraisal of the book. So it should be really exciting. So that is the text hasn't changed, but the reader has. That is a really good idea of how having an informed audience changes a text, and why you need to consider your audience, not only so that you can get your book out to the right people, but also so that you are considering, well, what are they going to want from a book of this type? So there's a lot of things we've been thinking about lately. We'll probably be a while before we're back again, because we're just going back into the trenches and writing some more. When we ever have an idea for something, we'll come back on. But until then, bye-bye, the Volker finger. If you would like to support this channel, come across to the Black Cockie Press website, www.blackcockiepress.com.au, where you will find books and other writing services to help with your writing.